No, I personally think he can make that step.
In
If
the
I'm
Premier
on,
League?
I think he could be a good player in the Premier League, but I think he still needs to make the step to the Championship first. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Now, as the summer transfer window starts to gain a bit of momentum, we're going to look at some of the transfer rumours that have really been speculated at this stage for players to come to Birmingham City. It's changing all the time, isn't it? You know, everywhere you look on social media, and there's always a speculation somewhere. But we're going to pick some of the key ones out today that have been linked to Birmingham City. Just have a quick chat about them. So, Matt, I mean, we know that James Beadle is highly speculated, and at the time of recording, nothing's been confirmed yet. And until the club confirm, we don't actually ever believe one, do we? But
No.
he's been speculated, hasn't he, James Beadle, the goalkeeper?
Yeah, so James Beadle seems to be high on the list, Dad. England international under 21. Got good championship experience. He's young. I think if he comes in and has some competition for us up, I don't think that's a bad thing. So for me, James Beadle gets a green tick if the rumours are true and he signs. But again, let's see and wait to see get that official confirmation.
Yeah, rumours are that, and it is rumours again that he's close. I think that the fact that he's away with the England under 21s is probably maybe delaying things if that's the case. But we do need a goalkeeper. We know that. He fits the bill, and as you mentioned, provides that much needed competition for Allsop for that number one spot.
Another thing as well, that he knows Stansfield, doesn't he, from being in the international England under 21 team. So
Yes,
Stano would be
yeah, there'll be various
defended
links
in.
there, won't there?
It's worth noting as well. That's not a transfer rumour. That's a loan rumour, isn't it? It'd be a loan from
Yes.
Brighton. Yeah.
Yes, he'll be on loan from Brighton. We also now know that the Rangers ownership and manager have now been confirmed, so we're waiting to see what happens there. Because I know, even though that they were on loan with us last season, they're still speculated as signings of Kieran Dowell and Ben Davies. So we should
Yeah.
find out fairly soon, I think, on those two.
Yeah. And from what I've been hearing, the package that's been rumoured again, all through social media, I guess, it doesn't seem like a bad deal for those two players. But let's see what happens with that, and I'm sure we'll find something soon.
Well, Russell Martin might have a different view.
Yeah.
He might think, well, actually, these two might want to keep. So it's out of our hands, basically. But we'll have to wait and see. I know that there's mixed views from Blues fans particularly on Kieran Dowell. I think most Blues fans would like to see Ben Davies come back, and a lot of fans want to see Kieran Dowell actually. But let's wait and see. But here's an interesting one, Matt, that has been speculated over the last week or so. Is Damari Gray, one of our ex-players? What's your thoughts on him?
These sort of players seem to be really split in social media, don't they?
It is really a direct split as well. It's amazing.
There's a camp that says it doesn't really matter. Bring whoever wants to come back if their quality is high enough and they want to play for the club. And there's certain fans that think, why do we keep going for players that previously played for us? I like Gray. I think he's a good player. The only thing that concerns me is the 8 million price tag they want for him. That seems very high to me. And if we're going to be brutally honest and just look at his assists and goals over the course of his career, for 8 million quid, it's not the most inspiring record.
Yeah, that's the thing that stuck out in my mind as well. I think, yeah, okay, he could be a good squad player, but for 8 million,
a lot of money.
that's if the speculations are true about that. But the point you made about his goals and assists, let's just go and look at some of the teams that he's done that and see what that actually is. So I'm going to go through the teams in order of the games that he's played most for and work downwards. So he played 169 games for Leicester. That's who we sold him to. He's had 13 goals and 14 assists in 169 games. You could probably argue that's probably not fantastic. Birmingham City played 78 games, had 8 goals and 4 assists. Everton, 75 games, 12 goals and 6 assists. And that is probably his most best games per goal interactions ratio. Al Ettifaq, who's the team that he's at the moment in Saudi Arabia, he's played 50 games. But listen to this. 4 goals and 5 assists. You think? And I know that this
in the
season,
Saudi League as well.
Yeah, in this season, I don't think he's got any. So, and Bayer Leverkusen, he's played 12 games, 1 goal, 2 assists as well. So, you would argue that, based upon those stats, that's not really prolific at all, is it?
Well, I would say that I have no problem with Gray coming back to the club. I'm not in the camp of saying he shouldn't come back. I just think 8 million is completely excessive. So if we could get him for 1 million, 2 million, which might be ridiculously low balling, I wouldn't say no. But for me, I think 8 million would be a case of someone seeing Birmingham City, seeing dollar signs and trying to take advantage.
Yeah, I've just been looking at my stats. He's 28 now. So, and obviously, when we know him as a young lad at Birmingham City, he was
Yeah.
a young, dynamic young lad, But and he has got pace, and
He's a good player.
he has got it in him. And we do need wingers, don't we? But I think the same as you. Yeah, I think the stats I've just read out, from my point of view, don't really suggest somebody that you really desperately need to go after.
Not for 8 million.
Not for that. Maybe 1 million.
2 million max.
Maximum, yeah, but for me, no, he's pretty. I think probably we have to see how that bears out.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get linked with these players, aren't we, Blues fans? The ones that've got the emotional connection to the club, because they make news, don't they? But let's see what happens with that. Here's another one that's caused a complete sort of split. Is Louis Barry?
I'll let you go first on this one, Dan.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, we know that he had he's done very well at Stockport, didn't he? In his first stint at Stockport, and then he came back for the first half of last season, did very, very well, scored loads of goals, loads of assists. And actually, when you watch him, he looks really good, doesn't he? How old is Louis Barry now? Let's have a quick. Louis Barry is 22 only.
Yeah.
And he went on loan to Hull City in the second half of last season, got injured, so he only played a couple of games. So you can't really judge anything from Hull. But based upon what he did at Stockport, and his age, he's clearly got ability.
But
The big but is you've got this Aston Villa connection.
exactly.
And that's where a lot of fans say we don't want him. But
I think it's bigger than that, though, Dad. 'Cause I haven't actually seen this. I don't know whether it exists. Maybe Blues fans could confirm it. I've heard there's been comments about never playing for Birmingham City or something, being very loyal to Aston Villa. Because they're an Aston Villa family. There is a direct line between the city, isn't there? You're either a Blues fan or a Villa fan, and you don't ever cross that line, really. So, again, if that is the case, it begs the question where his loyalty. He's a professional footballer, isn't he?
This is it. Yeah,
he's a professional footballer. But if there's any kind of resentment there, or any kind of not wanting to play for the club, I don't want anyone playing for Birmingham City who doesn't want to be there, especially someone who has a loyalty towards Villa. But having said that, he's a professional footballer. He's a good player. I think if we're going to call it objectively, Dad, I think he's the kind of player we actually need.
Yeah, I do as well.
A flary kind of goal scorer, assisting kind of player.
It's just that Villa connection that niggles at you, isn't it? And you're right, actually. That Villa connection don't really bother me as much. The key thing that you mentioned that does bother me is his attitude to play and want to play for Blues. That's all that really matters, to be honest. Yeah, the fact that he's played. We've had Villa players, cross between Blues and Villa for quite often, haven't we, over the years? And there's been some good ones, good.
I think the difference is, Dad, we've had players play for Birmingham and play for Villa. Barry's and his family are actually Villa fans. They actually have an emotional connection to Villa.
Yeah,
so there is a slight difference there,
I'm sure that the Blues won't employ anybody that doesn't want to be there or hasn't got the right attitude. But if he has and he really wants to play for Blues, like you said, he's exactly what we need.
He's a professional footballer, Dad. Yeah. He'd get his head down. I'm sure he'd work very hard. But, there is that niggle in the back of your mind. But, I actually think if we're just going to strip it back, take the emotional connection out of it, Louis Barry is kind of someone that we kind of need this season.
Good with dribbling with the ball, he's pacey, and he's good. Some good long shots. I mean, he saw some great long shot goals, didn't he, last season?
Good player.
So we'll have to see how that one pans out. Let us know your keep it polite, Blues fans. Okay, we know about this Villa connection, but would you be happy for Louis Barry to come and join us if his attitude was he really wanted to play for us? I think that's the key thing. We have to caveat that one. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. So that's really, and it is speculation. Here's another one, Matt. Again, that's been recently speculated as well. Charlie Savage. Playing for Reading at the moment.
I actually think Charlie Savage is a decent player. That he's a good age. I like his enthusiasm. He's kind of got he runs exactly like his dad. if you look at Charlie Savage running, he looks exactly. You think it's Robbie Savage.
He's like Forrest Gump in a box.
yeah. So he's still got that energy that Robbie Savage had. I hate the way Robbie Savage left Birmingham City. He left it on such sour note. But
he went to Blackburn, didn't he?
He did, but it was the way he did it. So he stopped training. He forced Bruce's hand. But if we forget about that, just for 10 seconds, he was one of my favourite players growing up as a Blues fan, because when he signed for Blues, I would have been sort of early teens.
Yeah.
And I loved his energy, I loved his enthusiasm. I was a big fan of Robbie Savage, but of course he left in that way, which really sort of soured that relationship. He's even put his hands up and said he wished he didn't do that. Obviously he was young, he wanted to force a transfer through. But anyway, he's a good player, Charlie Savage. He's young, he's a centre mid, and that's what worries me, is that we've got Awata, Paik, and Leonard in the centre mid. And don't get me wrong, we still need more depth, but again, is someone like Charlie Savage, who's young in his career, going to want to join Birmingham City? And I think he would be a bit part player. I mean, Chris Davies talks about the squad, and I get that. It's a squad game. He would, be rotated in, and he would get his chance to shine. I get that. But For me, I think we have good quality in the centre mid.
It's an interesting, thing this week because, like you said, he comes in and he's got Paik and Awata in front of him. Now,
And
again,
Leonard, I would
well,
say.
but again, this is speculation that Leonard has been speculated to possibly go out on loan, possibly, right?
Right.
But then you think to yourself, what's the point in doing that? Why would you bring in Charlie Savage when we've already got Mark Leonard and then put Mark Leonard out on loan? Why not just keep Mark Leonard?
I think Mike Leonard's the better centre mid as well.
Well, yeah, and Charlie. I mean, the good thing about Charlie Savage is 22, and he's a developing player.
How old's Mike Leonard?
Uh,
About the same, early 20s.
Yeah, he is roughly about the same age.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd have to check his exact age, but yeah,
I think he's early 20s.
He's roughly
let's
about the
say.
same age.
Yeah.
So you'd question the sort of the reason for this if this was the case. Why would you bring in Charlie Savage and then not and then put Mark Leonard out on loan when you've got a perfectly good player who Mark Leonard showed us when he came on. He's there, isn't he?
Oh, he's class.
He links up the play, he does what he needs to do.
No, we're big Mike Leonard fans.
Yeah, so I find this one a very interesting one. Maybe it's because of his age and because he will be quite cheap as well. Because I think he's either at the end or coming toward the end of his contract. But there is a lot of interest for Charlie Savage from other Championship clubs. I know Wrexham have been linked with him as well,
Right.
and a few other clubs. So he is one to watch, I think, and he's a developing player. So I think that's what Blues are looking at, aren't they? They're looking at players that have the potential to get better. But you've got to argue where Blues are going and the trajectory that they're on. What's the benefit of a player who is going to be maybe a fringe player? He might surprise us. We say fringe player.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Awata when he came in, he's going to be a fringe player. I did not knowing much about him, and suddenly he's first on the actual team sheet.
Isn't he? Yeah.
You just don't know what's going to go on. What I like about Charlie Savage, he's literally like watching his dad. He runs around, he breaks because Robbie Savage was he weren't the most gifted footballer in the world.
No.
And I think he would even say that himself. But his work rate and the way he broke play up and his commitment is what really you need in a team. And I think if Charlie Savage is like that,
It's like Roy Keane. Dad, Roy Keane's openly said he was never the most technical player in the world, but he got stuck in and he broke play up and he was aggressive. That was kind of Robbie Savage's game as well, wasn't it? Obviously, Roy Keane was leagues above Robbie Savage, but the point is, you've not got to be the most technical player in the world. If you can break up play, be aggressive, and get amongst it, you have massive value in the centre mid.
Yeah.
In fact, arguably, they're the biggest attributes if you're that kind of centre midfielder. I'm with you, Dad. He's young. If the club want him for future and they see value in bringing him in, why not? But I do think like we do have very good quality in the centre mid, but it's a long season. Mark Leonard got plenty of game time last season. Even Taylor Gardner-Hitman got to be in the centre mid last season.
Yeah, because if you think like Paik and Awata are going to go for the whole season without missing a game, without an injury or a suspension, you know that's not going to happen.
We have cup games as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we do need a bigger and wider squad. So let's see what happens with that one, because I think that's one to watch. Charlie Savage, that's sort of developing one at the moment.
Well, I will say that he is like his dad in terms of running, but he is more technical than his dad. He's actually decent on the ball. He can take a free kick. He can take a corner. He can swing a ball, and like he can pass the ball. I'm not saying Robbie Savage couldn't pass the ball, but like, he's a bit more technical as well. So yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, okay. One that's been linked with us for a while now, and it's one of these ones. Sometimes you get those players in the transfer window that are literally you see, like Mark Leonard last season, it drifted on for months and months and months. Another one that's doing that is Harry Darling from Swansea.
Yeah.
Now we did touch on this in the last one, but it's still bubbling, this one. And I know the development since the last podcast we did about Harry Darling is I know that Swansea, his current team, are trying everything to keep him.
Yeah.
They're putting an offer to him. So there's a possibility he might not even move at all. But what's your thoughts on whether what he could potentially add if we were to get him?
I'd say money talks, Dad, in football. So if someone comes in with a good or a big enough offer for him, then I think he'll take it. And there has to be a reason why he hasn't accepted a contract already. Whether it be he wants to move on to something different, whether because the money isn't right. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes at Swansea? If he hasn't accepted a contract already,
I don't know what, Matt. I think a lot of this is game playing by agents.
Maybe.
I think like Poku. We'll come on to him in a sec. Actually, I want to touch on him in a minute. But we know that he's been available for move since before the end of the season. And if their agents start playing game, just holding back, they're trying to sort of get more interest for and obviously suggests that there's competition for their players, they can then bump up their salaries and fees, can't
Well,
they?
their career is based on fees from selling, isn't it? So they
Yeah.
want to play the game to get the most amount of money and make sure they're on the most amount of money as well, because they get percentages and bonuses and all sorts.
Yeah, but
don't they?
if I was if I was a professional footballer and my agent started playing silly beggars, I'd be sacking them and saying you're jeopardising my move here because that's what could happen, because
Yeah.
teams could just walk away and turn around and say, okay, forget it, we'll move on.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
plenty of there's plenty of other players out there. If you
It's a
don't want to
risk.
play for us, then fine.
Yeah. I tell you who has the best agent in the world, Ollie Burke. He signed another contract for a German team. How's that?
I know.
How is this happening? Anyway,
we've moved on from that.
Yeah,
but for me, Harry Darling, I think he's a centre half.
Good player, Dad.
He's a very experienced player. I'm trying to look at his age.
25, I think.
Yeah, he's 25. But it's a perfect age, isn't it? And he'll be coming into competition with the likes of Neumann and Clara, at the back. And I think he would be a fantastic addition to the team.
I think this hangs in the balance of Ben Davies. So I think if Ben Davies does come in and Blues have earmarked him and want him to have a full-time contract, they might not go for someone like Harry Darling, because then,
It's the same argument though, Matt. We've just mentioned for Paik and Iwata. Do you think that Clara and Neumann are going to go for the whole season, centre halves as well, without getting injured or suspended?
Well, Clara's made us something different, isn't he? He does go the whole season pretty much.
Well, with Clara,
He's a
he
Terminator.
picks up bookings as well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
So I think we do need more strength in centre half positions, because I'm absolutely certain that Sanderson's going to be sold.
But we do have Neumann, Clara, Bielek plays there. If Chris Davies comes in, that's 4. Yeah, I guess
Ben Davies.
Chris Davies.
Chris Davies might want to put his shirt on, but I don't think
I do that a lot, to be fair.
I know,
As soon as I hear Davies, I go Chris Davies. So, yeah, I'm not against it, by the way. I think he's a great player. I think he would be a really good addition to the team. But again, Dad, is someone like that going to want to come and fight for a place? I think he's going to expect first-team football, isn't he? With his age, with his championship experience. Again, it comes down to, I think, a battle of money versus first-team football.
Yeah, and I would, if I was a manager, I'd say to a player, if you think you're as good as you are and you want first-team football, show me. Because if you're good enough and you're better than the players we've got, you're going to get picked, aren't you? So it comes down to that as well, doesn't it? Again, I've just touched on this, and we can't not do this podcast without talking about Kwame Poku.
Oh.
What's
going on?
Well, the thing is, right, I think that we have to bear in mind where we are in the transfer window at the moment. So players are on holiday, and this is I know that Kwame Poku has been speculated for a long time to come to Blues, and he's been available. But we are early on, and and the people thinking, well, if he doesn't want to be with us, then move on. But you've got to appreciate there's holidays and there's people behind the scenes. And
I think what people are saying, Dad, if the agent's playing silly buggers and there's games being played by things, then move on.
That's definitely, from what I've read, that's definitely part of it.
And it seems to be a little bit that way, that the agent wants him to play international football. By international, I mean go to Europe or somewhere else different. And I think there's some games being played behind, because the Peterborough owners come out and complimented Blues. Barry Fry's come out and complimented Blues. I think Peterborough want Poku to come to Blues, actually. I think that's the ideal signing for them, because they get their money as well, don't they? Because he's under, I don't know what the term is, he's under something where we have to pay Peterborough a certain amount of money because of his age.
It's because of his age.
Because of his age.
Yeah.
So they want to get that money, of course they do. They think Birmingham City would be a good fit. But if them agents playing silly games and he's trying to extort us for the most amount of money possible, or, play that kind of bargaining chip game, then if it gets to the point, just move on. But he is a good player, so it's a frustrating one, isn't it?
Look, there's no shortage of interest for him. We know that. I mean, the Peterborough chairman, Darren McAntony, came out and said there's 20-plus teams of experts. And that's no surprise if you look at his stats and what he's done in League One. And, the only sort of thing that, is if he wants to go to, like, a Premier League, like Sunderland are muted to be interested right now. They are in the Premier League now. So if he wants to go directly to the Premier League, he's going to take that step, and you can't blame him. Fair enough. But we just need to sort of wait and see what happens, because that's all we can do. Mm-hmm. We are interested. Apparently, we've made an absolutely brilliant offer to him.
30 grand a week. I've been reading.
Well, whatever it is, and I'm sure other clubs will come in. But he's got to look at Blues and see where we're going. And we have a very, very attractive option to go to now. And it's his choice, isn't it, really? And he can sack his agent off and say, well, actually, stop playing games. This is the club I want to go to. Get it done. He can do that if he wants to. But he's a young lad, isn't he? And we'll have to see what happens. But I think that might start to rumble on a little bit longer, that one.
I'll tell you what I like about the idea of Poker. He's been to St.Andrews this year when we won. He was at Peterborough away when we won, and he heard the noise that the crowd makes, doesn't he? And he knows what the Blues are about now, because he's played us a couple of times. Obviously, I know the Wembley didn't go the way we wanted to, but he's seen the Blues fans, he's seen the club, he knows what we're about. So Who knows whether that might have had an impact or swayed him, But I think a lot of Blues fans like Poku, and
Yeah.
I think that we all agree he's the kind of player we need. Flary, fast, creative, can score goals just as much as he can assist.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's Premiership, if I'm honest, but I think he's Championship ready.
Yeah.
So I think someone like Blues, a high end Championship team next season would suit Poku. I say high end, I don't mean that arrogantly. I just mean he would be ready for a high end team in the Championship.
Yeah, let's see what happens with that one. I say a lot of interest in him as well. Just a couple more, then there's just two more. We'll do them quickly because the first one we can do very quickly because we did speak about, but this is still rumbling on from the last time. Che Adams, his name is still drifting around in speculation. Now we know that he's another ex-Blues player, very similar to the comments we talked about Damari Gray and about being ex-Blues and stuff like that. He's at Torino at the moment.
We did a podcast previously and talked about Che Adams, didn't we? And I was kind of umming and ahhing, and it was nothing to do with an old player coming back. My only reservation was I didn't want us to get absolutely annihilated with a transfer fee and high wages. That was my only thing. But I said if the price is right and we can get a good deal and Che Adams is happy and he's on a good deal as well, I said in the end make it happen. And I think I still stand by that. If the deal's right, we should bring him back, but we shouldn't get taken to the cleaners on price for Che Adams.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? It's the same with all players, really. I'm sure the club know what they're doing in terms of what they want. But, he's at good age. He's 28. He's got good experience now. He's still got that burst of pace about him. So, again, another one that we'll have to see what happens. The final one that I want to talk about today is I've got a player that I really like, actually, Jezurun Raksaki.
Yeah.
He was he come from Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace have said they're open to offers. He was at Sheffield United last season on loan, and when I watched him, he looked really good.
Yeah, exactly. And
right winger.
And he's very similar to that Louis Barry Poku kind of flary winger who can score goals, assist. He's quick, he's clever, he's creative. I think not to quote the song, is almost exactly what we need. And I think we should definitely push for this one. And what I like about him, Dad, when we discussed Gray earlier and we said like his stats weren't really adding up, he actually he's proven, I think, himself in the Championship. He's got a decent record, and I think again if the price is right, we should definitely at least inquire and see what that would cost us. Because
I think it's going to hinge to me on the Poku. Because do you think we need both of them?
They're similar, aren't they?
Yeah. So
I mean, is Raksaki left all right?
Right. Well, he played on the right. The games I've seen him, he's played on the right wing against in the games I've seen him. I haven't got the exact stats actually about where he plays, but I've seen him on the right. And he's dynamic. He can he's a good dribbler with the ball. He can go around players, and he's young.
If it was just black and white, simple question. Poku, Raksaki, who would you pick?
I'd go Poku, definitely. But if Poku wasn't to materialise, I don't think there's a massive amount of difference between the two. I think the stats for Poku show in terms of his goal involvements, but don't forget Poku's League One.
Yeah, exactly.
Raksaki's done it in the Championship, so I think on balance, they're not massively different. So one or the other for me will suit me fine. But if you really push me, I'd probably go for Poku. I
guess the question would be, can Poku step up to the next level?
Yeah,
and because it is hit and miss. Poku's been a fantastic League One player. He could go to Championship and absolutely flop. You just don't know until they go. Whereas Raksaki, has shown he can mix it up in the Championship. So it is a trade-off, isn't it? It's a balance.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, because the step for Poku from League One straight to Premier League, if he goes
in my opinion, that's nuts.
If he goes, so it's a risk for both the player and the team. I mean, I personally think he can make that step. If I'm
Premier League,
I think he could be a good player in the Premier League, but I think he still needs to make the step to the Championship first.
Get that experience.
And then if he comes to play a team like Blues, he has been linked with Sheffield United as well, who's a team that Raksaki was playing for last season. This is Poku I'm talking about as well. So. I think similar teams are in for the similar players. I think Sheffield United are also trying to get Raksaki as well on a permanent. But again, another decent player. But it's nice to be linked with such good players, isn't it?
And to be fighting teams like Sheffield United for players. They are hot favourites to go up next season again, or if not be in the playoff places with the teams coming down. So the fact that we're battling Sheffield United, is exciting that we're in that market.
Yeah, exactly. And there are other players as well that we haven't really spoken about, and we try and sort of pick the players for these type of podcasts that are sort of more heavily speculated. So we're not just random. Oh, this person could come here. There are others. I'm sure there will be more, but love to know your comments, Birmingham City supporters, on the players that we've discussed in this podcast. Whether you think that they're a good fit for Blues, would you be happy with them to come to the club, just pop a comment below and let us know. As always, hope you've enjoyed the podcast. And if you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll find us on there as well. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these channels right now. If you haven't subscribed already to this channel and you'd like to, and there's no obligation to do so whatsoever, but if you would like to subscribe, press that red subscribe button, and there's a little bell icon next to the subscribe button that'll allow you to get notifications every time we put a podcast out. So that's it for this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. Myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.